This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
And welcome back, everybody. We're going to talk about something today that can truly impact your life. It contains the word work. It is my belief, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but everything is work. And when you put the work in, there's a benefit on the other side. Even making plans for the weekend with friends, family, whatever. A little bit of work involved there. Coordinating everybody, when they're coming over, where we're going to go, who's going to be driving, et cetera, et cetera. But the benefit of that, call it work, is having a great time. Bodywork. We're going to dig into that today. And I believe a lot of times when people hear that term bodywork, maybe you're thinking about, going to the gym, working on your body. Not so much. It's actually a lot easier once we dig into that. She's the expert on that. She helps people with that, therapeutic massage, and so much more at her company called New Lease on Life Bodywork. She is Jacqueline Davis, and she's back with us. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Steve?
Working on my body and have been, and that's for a number of years. And that's why I'm passionate about this topic today and everything else that we've discussed. Before we get into bodywork, Jackie, can we look at what we talked about last week? Just maybe a quick recap.
Sure. Well, basically, my primary modality is orthobionomy, which came from osteopathy, homeopathy, judo, and there's probably a few more in there. Oh, Chinese medicine, traditional Chinese medicine. So it's a really unique kind of a therapy. And the guy that invented it was from Canada. He was living in England, as a judo master, teaching students. And he would send his students over to the osteopath to get fixed if they got hurt. And he would go himself. And he ended up going to osteopathy school, and I guess he started working on his students, but he didn't like the way that at that time it was forceful. So he was looking for alternative way to do the work because it didn't fit with his judo and Chinese medicine kind of philosophy. And he found out about positional release by a guy named Lawrence Jones, and it was you put the body in a comfortable place, hold it there for 90 seconds, and then it will let go. And he got excited and he developed that further. And he came over in the 70s to the US and started going around and sharing that with people and getting students. And so that's how it got here to the US. And it's an interesting kind of work. It evolves. We use the word evolve. We don't use grow. And when you go up a rank in terms of your qualifications, we evolve. So we'll just use that term. And so basically, it's still evolving. And as a practitioner, I'm evolving. I just evolved up to an advanced practitioner. I got the notice yesterday. So that's
wow, congrats.
Exciting. Yeah.
Happy New Year. There you go.
Yes, very good news. And I'm training to be an instructor, and I'll be when I reach the first level of instructor training, finish that, I'll be able to teach newbies in the program. And one thing that was important to the founder was that he thought there should be an orthobionomist in every household. So you don't have to be a therapist to come in and learn. You do have to be, depending on the state you're in, you do have to be licensed in an appropriate way to charge people for it. But it's very gentle. People use it for trauma. People who've had a lot of trauma, it helps. It's gentle. It's not forceful. And I felt it when I had a really severe knee problem and fell in love with it. So I decided I had to do it. And here I am.
Well, how interesting. You mentioned that it was discovered long ago that you have a movement within your body, but then you hold that. And as I learned from my friend who's a trainer years ago, even when you're stretching, like, all right, I've done that stretch. Well, now you have to hold it, at least 30 seconds for it to be effective. But that gets us right back, in my opinion, the word work. It's a little bit of work. You got to hold it. But the back end of that is transformation or evolution, as you say, to evolve into something better, or feel better, whatever it might be. And let's go into bodywork, what we're talking about today.
Okay.
What is it? Like, how do you define it? What do you mean by the term bodywork?
Well, when I chose to use that term, I knew it was more than massage. And I knew it, I was looking for a term, and bodywork seemed to fit it. And
Mm,
I had to do a little digging to kind of really see what's out there and how it's used. And it's used the way that I thought it was. I just, so basically, it's a manual technique. So you use your hands, manual, and you touch a body, you move it, you manipulate it, you move it, or you can energetically, without touching, affect the body, or you can touch it and energetically at the same time. So that's one aspect. And another aspect is holistic. So when you go to some doctors and you've got something going on, they look at the symptom and they track that down.
yep.
So when you come into a body work, or you come in with a symptom, an ache, a pain, something, and it's not just follow the symptom, it's holistic. It's looking at the body, the mind, and the spirit, in, I guess, in terms. So you look at the whole person, and it's not about finding an answer. It's about looking at what's going on with that person. So if someone's in stress, strain, or whatever, you talk to them in a certain way to calm them down. You get their nervous system calmed down. So it's a bit more in depth. And holistic also can be more traditional medicine, and it can be alternative medicine. And traditional would be like your MD, your chiropractor, your physical therapist, your osteopath, your orthopedist. So it's more along that. Whereas the alternative would be things like um, Reiki, where you don't touch, use energy, massage, where you do some kind of therapeutic touch, or a body work like orthobionomy, where you touch, and or you can do energy work, and you can manipulate, or you can put in a position and just hold it, or you can do it laying down, you can do it standing, you can do it on the side, you can do it on the back, face down. So it really is a very there are a lot of different ways you can do it, and there are many different kinds of bodywork modalities.
So
And
before we continue, I want to go back to what you said before,
okay,
where it treats the whole body, as opposed, and I'm not taking anything away from modern medicine, but I
right.
believe the stat now is you have 11 minutes when you see your primary care physician. You go in there, you want something addressed, maybe you're feeling a certain way. The hello, the goodbye, and the consult is 11 minutes. So there's no time to really get your full story, everything, what's going on in your life, because everything, as I understand it, makes a difference. Your stress level, your relationships, how you sleeping, how you eating. So what do we do in modern medicine? It is what it is, but that doctor looks at your symptoms and says, all right, having a script called in, and that'll take care of those symptoms. Good luck. Let me know if there's any issues, and you're out the door. And that's it. I guess that's okay if you're in a rush, but there's more to it than that. And once the whole body is considered, and that includes the mind, the body, and all of that, then there can be transformation because we go back when you're working with somebody to the beginning in many regards, the whole picture, not just treating the symptoms, but going to, if you will, the root cause. And I just wanted to make that known because many don't realize that why this holistic healing makes such an impactful difference.
That's a really good point.
I
Kudos.
lived it, and I even timed it because I heard it was 11 minutes, and sure enough, within a couple of seconds, it was like, yeah, you know what? That visit was about 11 minutes, and you know, $50 copay, still had to pay, and insurance, blah blah blah. But this is radically different and worth it because somebody's actually, again, I'm not taking anything away from modern medicine. They have to see a minimum of 4 patients an hour, minimum. That's what it is right now. Um,
Mm.
this is going to the root cause. Somebody's actually, i.e., yourself, listening to someone to get that full picture. Now, there's other aspects of body work as well, right?
There are. What the last part of it is that there's a goal or an application.
Hmm.
So it can work with myofascia. It can work with performance types of things like dance or sports. It can be for reducing pain or discomfort. It can be to help manage stress. It can be to improve health.
Hmm.
So, so it is a really nice framework. And it's the concept of it is that you work with other medical professionals. So I'm not saying, oh, don't go to your doctor because you only get 11 minutes. I say, yeah, you really need to see your doctor. I really don't need to touch you until you go see a doctor because there are things that are totally out of my scope of practice
Sure.
and they need a doctor for those things. So we work together, and more, I think doctors are starting to team up with alternative medicine.
Yeah.
I do a part-time job working with a chiropractor. I just started right before Christmas, and he, that's exciting because it is meshing those two things together.
It is exciting because there's now a blend. In my opinion, it's a slow roll. It's because a lot of traditional doctors aren't trained in this. So it's on their radar, but it's not their forte. So they don't know about it. So it goes over to the side. Chiropractors, I believe, a little bit differently. Yes, they are doctors, but they view it in a different way, holistically. Plus, they got more time with you. An adjustment only takes about 2 minutes. I might go later today after shoveling snow. But yeah, there's a place for it, as you said. It's not that we're throwing that off to the side and this is the latest and the greatest and this is what's got to get done. By the way, it's not the latest. This has been around for hundreds, if not thousands of years, many of these principles. And we're still talking about it because it works. Right?
Absolutely.
Hmm. What else can you tell us?
Um, well, I think part of the body work, when a car goes in for body work, they look at it, they observe it,
Yep.
they look to see what it needs. And I think that's kind of a part of it too, because a really well-known body worker, Tom Myers, he talks about a key skill for a body worker is to recognize patterns. And
Hmm.
that can sometimes be more important than the technique they use.
Hmm.
So in a lot of these bodywork modalities, they teach you what to look for. They teach you the patterns. And I know that I got a real good education in that in my studies in this program is, you look at the person, are they limping? Um, do they are they having trouble laying their wrists flat on the table or their wrists bent because they can't
Hmm.
stretch out? So a lot of little tips like that you learn to look at the clients and say, okay, that is something I'm going to keep in the mind that might need to be addressed. And even before you do the intake, I somebody comes in I watch them walk. If I see them coming upstairs, I'm watching how they step.
Yep.
I'm watching when I send them to the massage room, I walk behind them and I watch how they walk. I watch if they're leaning, if they've got a limp, whatever. So I'm already ticking in some things that I need to pay attention to. So it's got that little bit of a connection with car body work in that
Mm.
sense.
Hey, well, to your point, Jackie, you have a dent in your car, let's say a quarter panel door, whatever it is, you bring it into the shop. They're not just looking at that dent. To your point, they're looking at, okay, did something else get damaged with that hit? Let's take a look at the panel in front of it. Maybe, let's say if it's a quarter panel, we got to look underneath, see if there's any structural damage within the vehicle. If there is, got to be addressed. If not, we're going to just take care of that one area. But they're looking at everything around it, whereby you go to a doctor, they're just looking at the symptom and taking care of it.
Hmm. And that's a really good point because to frequently, if there's pain or discomfort, it's not coming from the area where the discomfort is felt. As we
Point.
develop from a one cell, two cells merging into a person, things stretch. So what had been maybe here stretches down, and it might be miles away from wherever the pain is located because the body is connected in
Mm.
multiple ways,
Yep.
different areas. And if you don't look at the tissues that are next or in front of, or that okay, this might, like there's the big toe in Reiki, the big toe is analogous with the neck. So,
Mm.
and in orthobiotomy, I can sometimes, um, someone was working on my toe one day. We were going to a class and we all decided to give each other a session, and she was working with my toe and I could feel it up under my breastbone. I
Wow.
had my hand on my chest, and as she was working the toe, I could feel the fascia moving under my hand. And I said, "Do you know I feel that under my hand?" And she said, "Oh yeah." She was tracking it as she was working with my toe. She was following it up my body to see where it went.
Had no idea.
It's incredible, incredible.
Wow.
The body is so wise and so intelligent, and we don't
Mm.
give it credit.
And it can heal itself. I've experienced it if you give it what it needs, i.e., balance, right nutrition, right sleep, less stress, etc. Jackie, in your opinion, when somebody presents with an issue, let's say a shoulder issue, which I have on this going on for 2 years now, and I have some issues with turning my shoulder a certain way. I think it came from playing tennis, which I do twice a summer, if that. Didn't do it this year. How often is somebody's physical issue connected to something else? So let's say if it's a shoulder, it's not necessarily that shoulder. It's the middle of the back. It's the other shoulder, whatever it may be. How often is it somewhere else? What do you think percentage wise? And this is
Uh,
not scientific.
Frequently, for example, there is a tendon that connects your liver to one of the shoulders. I can't remember which one. I always have to look it up.
Wow.
But yeah, and that can cause shoulder pain if the liver is disturbed, if it's tight, if it's shifted a little bit, it can affect your shoulder.
I had
And
no idea.
oh, absolutely. And I was talking about the toe and the neck. I was working with someone's toe, and she said, "Oh, my neck just relaxed. I felt that in my neck." It and I wasn't focused on her neck at the time, but I was in that area, and her neck got a really nice release while I was working on her foot, on her toe.
Wow. Ah, like that's, it sounds like in Chinese medicine, reflexology. Is there some kind of connection there with that?
Oh, absolutely. There are aspects of Chinese medicine. Some of the points, we call them reflex, wait a minute. I can't think of
Reflexology?
the term, but we have points. Like for the shoulder, there are 8 points. And some of those are acupuncture points. And there are different places on the body where they coincide with those acupuncture points.
Wow.
There are places that can work from the feet, like the foot. I don't know much about Reiki, but I do know that you can map the whole body on the foot. And some people will, go on the toe to work on the neck. And so yes, that is frequently a situation.
Mm. So when we talk about, you mentioned patterns. When you look at somebody and you see they're walking a certain way, can we go a little deeper into that? What counts as a
Sure.
pattern, how that affects the treatment that somebody gets?
Okay. So, for example, some people walk and they tilt their body and they don't realize it because their body has adapted. And it could be something from an injury. It could be something in the inner ear. It could be a lot of things going on. But sometimes it's holding in the muscles and the body just adapts, and that's the new normal. So if I saw someone leaned over like that, I would think, okay, it might be the psoas muscle, which attaches to the ribs and the spine, and it comes down the inside of your hip and attaches onto um, the leg bone. So the psoas is one of the places where the body is connected. Your your upper body is connected to your lower extremities, your legs, and because that sometimes will happen. And it may be that the upper part of the psoas is tight because that goes from the spine to the ribs and it can pull your ribs over. And it could be different muscles. It could be several things. It could be something going on in your diaphragm. And by the way, you can work on the diaphragm by using the ribs and give it a release. I
Wow.
just learned how to do that in October, and I was a guinea pig on the table to demonstrate it. I didn't even know I had issues in my diaphragm, but it felt like a herd of people moved out. It
Wow.
was it was such a profound release. I couldn't believe it. I didn't have any clue that that's what was going on, but it can also twist your body. Your body can twist and it
Mm.
can be held in that pattern, the upper body. You can also have a twist on your lower body. So your upper body can twist one way, your lower body can twist the other way. And you're not you're not aware of it because it's become your new normal. And those are some of the things that can get reset with body work and re-education, because that's a big part of orthobonomy as well, is looking at these patterns and then saying, okay, we need to get you where your body recognizes what normal is again. Your body needs to learn this. And there are
Mm.
some exercises and little movements you can do to help the body do that.
I've heard the term holding tension, that we all are holding tension, which is creating issues within our body. And that tension can come from traumas, could even be from childhood, and then it comes up again, or something. Maybe you were in a car accident 5 years ago, but you're still holding that tension in different parts of your body, be it your shoulders, maybe your diaphragm, whatever it might be. Have you heard that term before?
Oh, yes, I've experienced it too.
Mm.
Yes, a lot of people do hold tension. I'll just give an example from my background.
Sure.
Um, my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, died when I was about 2 years old. And I have one memory of her, maybe two memories of her, but I knew the story. And I I was in New York, and I was doing a class that really delves into emotions. And I'm not somebody who's a weeper. And there are people who, when they get emotional, they'll cry. And I don't cry much, but I would go to this meeting and the meeting would stir up a lot of things, traumas and things. And I would just sit there and cry. And everybody would look at me like, what is going on with you? And I said, I have no idea. I have no idea why I'm sitting here crying. And one day I was sitting there and I went, I miss my grandmother. And I went, what? It was in my head. I said, what is wrong with you? In my head? And my head said, I miss my grandmother. And I realized that this was related to my grandmother, who died when I was 2. And I was 40, 42, 44 at the time. And I went, whoa, this is amazing.
Yeah.
So I went to a body worker, a Rolfer, and they worked with myofascia. And I had been going to him for a while because I was holding a lot of tension. And he said, oh yeah, this is old stuff. And I said, try 2 years old stuff. And he was able to release that. And I was able, I had been holding that in my body. People hold trauma in their bodies. And it was concentrated on one side in my ribs up under my armpit. And he was in there digging to get at it. He said, I'm so sorry, but I have to do this to get it. And I said, just get it out. I need to get this out. But yeah, so there are those things. There are injuries that your body, traumas with injuries that you hold in your body. There are emotional things. There are, like a little child that doesn't know how to express their grief. They hold it in their bodies. So absolutely, you're right on target there.
You, even as a 2-year-old, we're much more plugged in than many people give 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds credit for. You experience that, and also the emotions, I'm sure, of your family at that time when your grandmother passed. I think we mentioned before that my belief here, we're all grieving. Every one of us are grieving something. What is grief? It's loss. So that could even be you lost a job 5 years ago. You moved on, but you're still holding that inside because you were at that job, let's say, for 20 years, and it made an impact on you. And now it's gone. And maybe you feel like you've lost your role in life because you identified with that job. Just one example. Somebody's older, doesn't move around like they used to, loss of mobility. You could be grieving that and holding that in your body, whereby Bodywork will get that done. The amazing part is a lot of this can be done virtually, like we're talking now, especially Reiki and so much more. Jackie, what's the best way for somebody to connect with you?
To go to my website, and I gave that to you before. Can you put it up on the screen? Do you have it?
Yes, we'll definitely get that. And if somebody's listening and can't see it on the screen, what's the best way can we email you?
Yes, it's New Lease on Life Bodywork, all small letters, at gmail.com.
Gotcha. Start with the conversation. Learn how this can change your life. Why do I say that? Because it did for me and still does. And we're all on a journey. And again, you go to the doctor, you got 11 minutes. Might take care of it temporarily, but why not go to the source? Eradicate maybe that tension that you're holding from something from back in the day. Thank you so much for being here again. I'm gonna say, you tell me if this is okay, your feelings. Maybe Bodywork Part 2 next time we get together, because there's so much more we didn't even get to yet.
I love that thought.
Sound reasonable?
That's a great idea.
All right.
Sure.
Thank you again. Happy New Year, and we'll catch up in 26.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.